What you doing?
I am doing drawings for the Canticle of the Sun work for the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady's New Children's Hospital.
Sounds important.
Well, hopefully it will all come together and be a beautiful addition to the hospital. One of Just Add Clay, and I started out, right now I'm getting to know the temperature of my clay and what I can do with it at different temperatures. For instance, I started over here with a spatula and very liquid clay, and I just sort of applied it with the spatula, and I wanted the feel of water and flowing. So.
And how does it get liquid?
It gets liquid by sitting in this little turkey roaster or hot, what do you call it, crock pot?
Yeah.
So I heat it up in there because at room temperature, it's kind of hard to manipulate. It's fairly tough. This is J-Mac Classic Clay, medium softness. And it's not very good to model right out of the box. So I heat it up so that I can bring it to a more...
That's the word that I couldn't pronounce.
Malleable?
Is it malleable or
Malleable.
malleable or malleable?
Malleable.
What a coincidence.
Anyway, so that's the key. So what I've done, I started over there with the water and continued the water all the way. And then I love the drawing of Francis's foot, so I kind of let that guide me, and I started working, kind of wanted to work on St. Francis since he was the inspiration for this piece. And I thought, well, if I get Francis first, he'll be with me through the whole project. So there he is. He already has, I'm already kind of pleased with the pleasant expression. He has a very happy, contented expression, which I bet he would be if he were in the presence of God and all of his beautiful creation.
Very good. Pretty good start for day one. Not even noon yet.
Not even noon. That's what happens when you get up at 2:30.
End of day one. Sculptor lady worked herself crazy yesterday. Kind of typical. First day of a new project, she's on a high. She'll get back to normal pretty soon and work a normal day and sleep a normal amount of hours at night. Okay, day two, what you working on?
Day two, I'm just laying in the background. If you put the clay on real liquid, it sticks better than if you let it get semi-solid and then try to put it on the wood. This way it grabs really, really well. This was the clay in the pot, J-Mac Classic Clay Medium, on a low heat, and it spatulas beautifully. What I do, my technique seems to be to heat this up to a liquid, like I said before, and then remove some of it and put it in a small plastic container so that this will cool more quickly. And I'll have clay that I can model with at that point, rather than spatula. So I'll use that clay to start building up the bulk of these figures.
Got it.
It's time to remelt some clay, because all my clay is in this state where I can't really use it. So I'm reheating another batch of recycled clay, and I've just been working on this right panel with Mary up in the cypress tree, and I was struggling with her face, and you can see it's very roughed in, but the face is a little more developed than everything else because I love faces. And at any rate, that is where I am right now, waiting on the clay to get smooth. Good morning, it's Friday, last day of the week. I'm only going to work half a day today. And right now, I am just layering some very wet clay, bulking up the figure of Christ and these two children, actually 3 children. I covered up one completely. You can kind of see the outline. The head of the adolescent will be right here, and the head of the little girl, my little Molly, will be right there, and the baby that Jesus is holding, his head will be about right here. So what I'm doing is just bulking up, basically. Whoops, as you can see, the clay is very wet. It's almost to the melting. It really is to the melting point.
It's wet or hot?
It's wet and hot.
It's melted. So what's next?
So what's next? Well, first I have to bulk up, and then I'll start the figures. Then I'll start really getting down to the nitty-gritty of sculpting these 4 figures: Christ, an infant, an adolescent, and a 5-year-old.
So that'll be when?
I'll probably kind of start building today, but hopefully that'll be next week's major task.
So are any of your figures complete?
No, not really. Mary probably is closest, but no, there's a lot of texturing to be done. But the masses are in place for Mary and Francis, and the egret, and the pelican, and the frog, and the alligator, and the crawfish, and the turtles. But the texturing remains to be done.
All right.
Okay, good morning. Another week. Week 2 begins, and as you can see, all the boards are covered in clay, and they're very roughly bulked in. The right panel and the left panel much more bulked in than the other, than the center panel. And I'm right now bulking in the figure of Christ. And after that, it'll be a matter of fine-tuning. Getting the right expressions on the figures and texturing, but there's much remains to be done.